This must be a really talented mother warthog. I mean, how many babies there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 females. So she's done very well. Both of them have done very well to get 6 piglets to this age. They're by no means out of trouble yet. They're still ideal leopard snippets at that size. Let's actually forward. You can see them again. I think this is the same very successful females we've seen on the Arathusa airstrip before that have managed to raise these little guys. They are quite cute when they're little. So they're actually heading out towards that open area we just came from. Oh, there's more. They just keep coming.
Oh, wow.
That's actually more than 6. That's 8. So I think they're going to come out into that open area we just passed. So I'm just going to turn the car around and go have a look at them. Now at this time of the day, they are most definitely heading for their den, so the warthog burrow. They didn't make the burrow. They would have taken over from an outfart normally. They will do some excavations with their nose to make that burrow bigger, but they are definitely not, they don't have the right skills to actually dig the burrow. Will do, James, but unfortunately the area we operate in is not really ideal for impala lilies. They prefer more rocky soil and quartz with lots of quartz in it. And we are on granite soils here, which are quartz, but it's very fine granite. It's not. We don't have any rocky outcrops and things like that. It is possible, but I haven't seen any impala lilies since I've been here. I could also be wrong, and there could very easily be a secret grove of impala lilies somewhere that we haven't discovered yet. So the fact that they've stopped to feed means that their burrow will be quite close to here. This is sort of starting to get to sort of predator time when the predators are most likely to be moving. So they will be quite close to their burrow now. So, a collective noun we haven't done before, and that's, what is the collective noun for warthog? What is the collective noun for warthog? You can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Wonderful soft light. Such a beautiful evening. Nice to see how well these 2 little family groups of warthog have done. I think we're going to leave them to their last snack before bedtime and continue on to see what else we might be able to find. So the warthog have changed my plans slightly. Take a different road. Maybe the warthog. Oh, that's quite nice there. One last little look with that backlighting, and then we're gonna head off again. It's just it's such a pretty setting. The sun setting, nice little group of warthogs. Warthogs have got wonderful backlight through the grass. The grass is lit so nicely. So Gerda, welcome on Sunset Safari. Gerda, I just asked the question. I'm going to see if you guys can find the collective noun for warthog. There is one, as far as I heard. I'm pretty sure about that. So I'm leaving it up to you guys, Gerda, to find the collective noun for warthogs. And if you find it, send your answers through to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So as we're going to cross back to James, see what he's been up to, see what he's got, and hopefully he's got something really nice for you. And we'll be back with you a little bit later, so have fun with James.
Welcome back to Wendy, everyone. We've just come up to this waterhole where you can now see a hippo, a heron, and a buffalo. And if you look carefully, you can see a Cape turtle dove in the background as well. A quadrifecta, if there's such a word. In fact, I'm pretty sure there isn't. The heat has just come off the edge of the day, and so things are starting to cool a bit. These buffalo, there are a few buffalo around here, and they will go off and graze later in the night and find in the coolth of the evening. If we look carefully at the one just to the left of where we are now, Brian, there he is. Now if we look and you zoom in on his mouth, you can see he's chewing. Obviously he's not grazing, he's chewing the cud. And chewing the cud is often a term people use without really knowing what it means. In this case, chewing the cud, well, in fact in every case, it means that the cud is the regurgitated food matter that's in the stomach. So they regurgitate it and then swallow again, and it goes into a different section of the four-chambered stomach, and that really helps. The reason the strategy is so great is that it helps to extract as much. Just watch his throat now. And you see the bolus coming up. It helps them to extract as much protein from the food as possible, because protein is in short supply if you're a herbivore. Plenty of carbohydrates, but they really struggle to get protein. And by re-chewing the food, it breaks it up that more and allows the bacteria in the stomach to work that much harder and more effectively to extract the protein they need. This waterhole is called Buffels Hoek Dam, which means Buffalo's Corner Dam, so that's quite appropriate. You can see that old boy has had his ears chewed off, probably by thorns. It's possible there's been some form of attack on him, but I think he probably would have lost the whole ear then. You can see those oxpeckers sitting on them quite peacefully. It's a very little peaceful scene as the sun starts to set over the great African wonderland that is the Kruger Park. Up here in the tree above us, got a whole lot of sticks. I don't know if, there are two different kinds of nests there, and I'm not sure if anybody knows what they are. The big ones are called red-billed buffalo weaver's nests, It's not easy to say after a couple of scotches. Red-billed buffalo weavers' nests. And the buffalo weavers are a little bit like those community nest spiders. The females don't eat the males, but they all live in their own little apartment, and they kind of share a communal style of living, and they flock together and they feed together. And then the little nests above them are probably spotted-backed weavers' nests, and those are beautiful yellow birds in the summertime and totally drab brown in the winter, which is interesting. So they're only yellow when they're breeding. They like to nest just above water. The tree is called a torchwood tree, or Balanites mogami, and it's called a torchwood, interestingly, because the oil in the fruit is flammable, and apparently people used to soak, they'd take the oil out and soak it, wrap it around a stick, and then use that as a torch. It's also very toxic, and if you're running short on time and short on food, you can go to a water hole, and apparently it's quite effective as a fish poison. You can crush it up and drop it in the water, and the torchwood will poison the water and kill the fish. It's not very nice, obviously, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Again, I'm not sure how much you can hear from where you're sitting now, but today you can just feel as the energy has changed away from the harshness of the midday and the midday sun. You've got a crested francolin calling, heralding the sunset. They're normally the herald of the sunrise as well. You've got oxpeckers coming in to roost from all over, having one final bite to eat on some of those buffalo. Well done, Brian. Good job. Good job. Those are called red-billed oxpeckers. We do get the yellow-billed variety in this area sometimes, but they're quite rare. Further north they're much more common. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, but these buffalo tend to be covered in ticks and insects and ectoparasites, and those oxpeckers play a crucial role in the prevention of disease on things like these buffalo, and indeed all the herbivores. The one there you can see without the red bill is a juvenile. And he's actually begging. You can see he's begging with his mouth open there. That's quite interesting to see. See the begging with his mouth open, because he's probably a little lazy to try and feed himself these days. Having just come out of... he's probably just fledged. Getting very upset. And off to my left there are some grey-headed sparrows, which I don't think you'll see in the camera. They're hidden in a knobthorn tree. They also like to call the end of the day and the very beginning of the day. You might be able to see them there. There we go. Grey-headed sparrow enjoy trees like this because it means it's difficult for the larger birds. Their major predators are probably small raptors, and small raptors will struggle to get into a thorny bush like that to haul them out. They will have to watch out though for things like boomslang, which is a tree snake, and a tree snake, despite its smooth scales, is able to climb somehow, and I don't know how, through those branches and up into trees like that. They're not as easily as in a smoother tree, but they're still able to do it somehow. It's also a giraffe's favourite food, that knobthorn tree, and if you were to try and pull some leaves off with your hands, you'd shred the skin of your hands. And the giraffe just wraps his wet tongue around it, and sort of sucks the leaves off. It's a totally remarkable thing that they're able to do without hurting themselves. And there goes the sun finally. So I'm just going to let you sit and listen quietly for the next minute while the sun disappears, and try and just gauge for yourself a sense of the tremendous peace that an African sunset can give you. Here the sparrows to the left, Cape turtle doves to the right. Some rattling cisticolas calling their last alarm call. Here the buffalo scratching his head. Question from Mary Ann as we watch the embers of the sun disappear over the horizon there. Mary Ann wants to know, when will the weavers start again? I'm assuming, Mary Ann, that you mean when will they start to sort of rebuild their nests and breed again. That will only happen in the springtime. So around September, late August, September, they'll start to build, and they're squabbling and breeding, and I mean, it's wonderful to watch. Will go on probably until December time, and then they'll settle in to raise the clutch of eggs and chicks. It will happen, and after that the males slowly, when they molt their yellow feathers, they look exactly like females. So for the next few months until September, all the weavers look exactly the same, or very similar to each other. And then come September, they'll go yellow again and start to breed and build their nests. Judy, welcome to this Sunset Drive. You'd like to know how cold it gets here in winter. The answer is, I'm not sure where you're communicating from, but I can bet it's not as cold as where you're from. It might drop down to 2 or 3 degrees Celsius once or twice a year. It'll be the coldest it'll get. But even on those days, the maximum temperature during the day will go into the mid-20s. So it's very pleasant here in winter. I seldom have to put on long pants, and that's not because I've got very hairy legs. It's because it just simply doesn't get cold enough, which is great. Up on the Highveld in Johannesburg, it gets much colder, or Bloemfontein, where the altitude is much higher. It's over a mile in Johannesburg. But down here, the altitude's about 450 meters, and so it remains pretty cool. At least remains pretty warm. Buffalo wandering across the water. Just going to reverse a bit. You can see that they're coming up to drink, or coming up to start eating now, some of them. And there are a few behind us that I'm just going to try and see if we can't see better. See them going off to start grazing for the night. wizened old bull. You can see on his horns there how much of the top layer has come off, the sort of keratin on top of his horns, and that's from rubbing his horns against trees, itching himself and marking territory and showing dominance. You can see on the one behind him as well, very similar sort of configuration to the keratin on the top of the horns. These old bulls spend so much time around the water because in order to, and especially as winter comes along, in order to digest the very dry food that they eat, they need a lot of water to keep the stomach going. So they can eat, these buffalo have such incredibly effective digestion that they can eat just about anything as long as they have enough water to drink. And so as the winter comes, they'll spend more and more time around the water. You can hear one of them making a big noise in the background. Just going to get a little bit closer down to the water there. Sorry about that. Two of them having a little bit of argy-bargy. Oh, big fella. Look behind the buffalo. I'm not sure if you can see there. Just swimming in his wake. Swimming in his wake there. There we go. Well done, Brian. You can see a terrapin, which is a freshwater turtle. And he'll pick the ticks and things and the parasites. He's like a sort of waterborne oxpecker, if you like. And he'll pull the ticks off the buffalo's legs and any other bits that are dangling in the water. It's called a marsh terrapin. You can see you can hear the clunk of the horns of those two as they try and sort out who's the real boss. Looks far more playful than it does serious, especially as there are no women around for them to fight over, which is the main reason they would fight. Birchall starlings walking around behind them, just picking up the scraps. You know, as they turn the soil over, there'll be little snails and invertebrates and other morsels that the starlings can eat. The other quite interesting thing, if you look at those buffalo, you'll see one of them has a scrotum that seems to be much smaller than the others. And that often happens with bulls who've left the herd and they no longer have the need to mate. It's a waste of energy to maintain that part of the body for them. James in Colorado, welcome to the sunset, glorious African sunset, and this exceptional buffalo experience we're having. James would like to know if I have ever had a near encounter with a buffalo. Now, by close encounter, I'm assuming you mean in some sort of danger, and the answer is no. There's quite a story behind that. Buffalo have developed a reputation for being possibly some of the most dangerous animals in Africa. Now, I maintain that there is no such animal as a dangerous animal. An animal only becomes dangerous when it feels threatened. Now, the fearsome reputation that these buffalo have, it comes from the hunters who obviously try and shoot them. Now, if you harass a buffalo sufficiently and corner it, and especially wound it, it will become tremendously dangerous. But otherwise, no, they are not dangerous. If you give them a fright at night in a camp or something, and they feel cornered, yes, then they can feel threatened, and so they become dangerous. But I have walked within 5 meters of a buffalo bull by mistake before, not seen him until it was well too late, and they don't react. If they don't feel cornered, if they don't feel threatened, they're entirely docile. So James, I've had many close encounters with buffalo. I've never had a threatening encounter with a buffalo. And the same goes for many of the animals that have a reputation. Hi Eugene in Randburg, thank you very much for your question about guinea fowl. Guinea fowl are actually fairly abundant here. We hear them quite a lot, we do see them. They don't tend to congregate too much at the water. I suspect they probably drink mainly during the midday. I'm not entirely sure, but they are around. I don't think there's anything amiss with the ecology of the area that would suggest that there's a problem with them. I don't think they're a particular keystone species as far as that goes. So they're not like a frog or an indicator species. They're not like a frog where if the frog diversity dives, you know that there's something wrong or something out of kilter. So we do see quite a few guinea fowl around here. I wouldn't worry about that. Not sure if any of you have eaten guinea fowl before. There's an old recipe that's quite interesting. You take the guinea fowl and you put it in a pot with boiling water and whatever herbs and spices you want, and then you put a brick in next to the guinea fowl, and after you boil it for about 3 days, and after 3 days you take the guinea fowl out, throw it away, and eat the brick. And that's the best way to eat a guinea fowl. Right, we are going to head on out of here and see if we can't pick up some of the nocturnal animals. We've come to that time of the day that I call the changing of the guard. Everything is dead quiet. The francolins have stopped calling. The little grey-headed sparrows have gone into their nests, into the tree holes, and some of the nocturnal animals will start to wake up and stretch, and with any luck that'll include maybe a leopard or some lions, and the civets, the genets, the white-tailed mongoose, the owls, and the bush babies. And we might see some of those things. So I'm just going to reverse up out of here, and then we'll see what we can find. course, that hippo that we saw come out to graze fairly soon as well. Nocturnal animals are hippos. There you go, the buffalo off to graze. You can just feel it's amazing how two things happen at these latitudes. And one of those is that as soon as the sun goes down, temperature drops quite fast, and then the light goes almost immediately. At the higher latitudes, obviously, you have a bit of a twilight, and we don't have much of a twilight. I'm going to cross over to Brent now and see what he's doing. I've got no idea where he is in the world, so please give him my regards.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad fun with James. We're busy checking that area where there was some female leopard tracks around during the day. Last tracks we had were in the drainage line here. I'm just checking this road carefully, make sure they haven't crossed through here. And as you can see, it's a bit colder. Pop the jacket on. Sydney, Diane, MJ, Bradley, and Dennis. Well done, guys. You are correct on the collective noun for a group of warthogs. I know there were quite a lot of others of you as well. Thanks very much for sending in the answers, but they were the quickest. And it is a sounder of warthog. You can see we're driving quite slowly now this time of the day. Tracks become a little bit harder to see, so I'm going to slow down, just check very carefully. Sharon from Memphis, Tennessee. Sharon would like to know, do warthogs develop any calluses on their forelegs from that very distinct sort of kneeling feeding posture? They do have a thick, the skin that they do crawl on is quite a lot thicker and a lot tougher than the other skin. So yes, Sharon, they do develop calluses. We're just going to sneak through here very quietly and slowly, and then just as we get to the edge of the open area, I'm going to switch off and we're going to listen for a little bit, see if we hear anything. Hopefully something out there has spotted the leopard, wants to let us know where it is. grass now. Normally, impala, quite often wildebeest here, but I'm not seeing anything at the moment. I'm just going to check the other side of the open area. Look like much out here at the moment. No tracks yet. So we're just gonna switch off for a minute, just listen quietly, see if we hear any alarm calls. It is the right time of the day for the predator to start moving. Well, nothing there. Actually, this would be something you would do quite often if you were on the safari. If you came in person, it's a very, very important tool when it comes to finding animals. So we do utilize it a lot. Just sitting still, keeping quiet, and listening, and letting the bush let you know what's going on. Quite a nice, funny little story for you guys. So, one of the big things on a safari is to stop for your sundowner drinks. G&Ts, nice cold glass of Sauvignon Blanc, or whatever your poison might be. And the interesting reason is why this was originally started. And it was actually started, as far as I'm aware, in the Sabi Sands. So, in the early days of the safari industry in this area, the lions and leopards were not like they are today. They would run from cars. They were used to being shot at and hunted. So when they did start developing this sort of safari model, the best time to find out where a lion or a leopard was at the sort of late afternoon as the evening's about to start. So the guide would stop and set up a tray of drinks and start serving everyone drinks, and his tracker would then wander off maybe 100 meters away from where it was a bit quieter and just sit and listen. And listening for alarm calls, they were also listening for vocalizations of lion and leopard. So that's how the sundowners on safaris, which is such a huge part of safaris these days, actually started. It was to find lions and leopards. James, you copy? Can any station give me an update on Mwula for this afternoon? I've just crossed back from Hope.
Don't know what's going on. No, didn't get any update.
Copy, thanks, Forbes. I'm coming turned on access. So I'm going to check past the Mighty at Gallagher and around towards the dam.
Okay, so thank you. I'll just go in some information.
Copy that. So it doesn't look like anyone's managed to find Mvula this afternoon, this evening on the Sunset Safari. So we're going to just meander around the edges of the areas where he might be, and hopefully he moves out of those thickets that he's been lying in during the day, maybe to go have a drink. So we're going to check the water holes around there. From Kansas City, welcome on the Sunset Safari, James. James wants to know, what are the odds of us being able to find a honey badger in the night portion of the safari? James, slightly better than the day portion, definitely, but still not very high. As it gets drier and the grass becomes shorter, our odds will increase, and hopefully we are lucky enough to see a honey badger at some point on one of the live drives. We were lucky enough to see a serval recently, so honey badger is not too far of a push. And James would like to know, do honey badgers dig their own burrows, or do they utilize aardvark burrows or other already existing? Sorry, I thought I saw something. One of those very common leopard-like bushes. We see them quite frequently here. Sorry, James, back to your question. James, they will utilize already natural structures, whether it be like an aardvark burrow, but they quite often like to use rocky outcrops as dens. It just depends on the area. Saying that their domestic pigs often wallow in the mud because they cannot sweat, so they use it to cool themselves. And do warthogs do that for the same reason? Miriam, they do, but they do it for a similar reason, to cool off. It's comforting. They also use it as a means to control parasites like ticks. So what will happen is if they cover themselves in mud, those ticks become encased in the mud as it dries, and when they rub up against a nice stump or rock, the ticks will come off their bodies encased in that mud. And I'm quite sure domestic pigs, if they had tick and other parasite issues, would also use the wallowing to remove parasites. Well, we're getting close to that time of night. It's nearly time for a bit of a spotlight. Not quite yet. It's this funny, that the twilight, where you think a spotlight might help, but your eyes are actually, if your eyes are sort of zoned in, actually work better than a spotlight at this specific time. The reason I've turned my front lights on is actually more for tracks. So with these lights on, they will throw a shadow on a track, so I might be able to see a track, because it is, other than that, without the lights it would be near impossible for me to spot a track. coming up on a little pan. That's where he was found this morning, was at this pan. So hopefully if he hasn't moved too far away where he's been lying up during the day, he might definitely at this time of the evening come through to drink. When we get to the pan, we're going to switch off again, listen for a little bit before continuing on. I'm just going to listen for a few seconds, and while we're listening, I'm just going to get my spotlight ready. So what we're listening for now is any possible alarm calls. It is quite a strong possibility that he might start moving at this time of the day. You can see like where Andrew's moving the camera, it's always checking those little gaps just in case we see a little dart of movement through there. So we're right outside Gallagher camp at Djuma. This little water hole is in front of the camp. And quite often guests are treated to some really special sightings while they're sitting on the deck. But unfortunately I haven't heard anything, so I think we're going to continue on to the area where he was left lying up. I'm trying to decide where to check next, whether to check down towards the WildEarthTV dam or to check further north towards the boundary. Decisions. How about it? Should I take, unless we hear an alarm call or something that definitely gives us a pinpoint on it, where he possibly is, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Where do you guys think Mvula's gone? You can choose right or left. Right goes back down towards the Djuma dam and the Djuma cam, and left goes towards our northern boundary. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Which way do you think Mvula went? You can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. It looks like someone else has got the same plan as me and is slowly checking through this area. I'm going to stop and switch off again before we get through. Give you a chance to get your answers in. Also give me another chance to listen for alarm calls. Oh, there's a scrub here in the road. We're not going to keep the lights on them for too long. They don't really like it too much, just so you can see it. There he is, little scrub here. Sorry, guy. Turn my lights off. Just going to stop up next to Mr. Scrub here and listen again for a second. So we're definitely not the only ones with the plan. You can hear another vehicle coming through. also doing the same thing, waiting till it got cooler and darker, and just checking to see if the mvula has come out of these thickets that he's been lying up in during the day. Oh, our friend the scrub here has run up right next to us. We try to bounce some light off the ground onto him, so it's not shining directly on him, I'm shining it off the ground. Oh, off he goes. Evening, guys. How you guys doing? Looking for mvula? Yeah. Us too. So I've been sitting around trying to listen to see if there's any alarm calls, but nothing yet. Hopefully he pops up somewhere.
There was any trucks apparently coming out.
There was also a lot of vehicle movement in and around during the day, so. But I'm pretty sure he's quite close by. No, it's just he needs to walk into a nyala or something so we can know exactly where.
No, it just ran on those roads like.
There's a scrub here around earlier.
It's like going mad.
Yes, he's been running around the vehicle. He came back up the hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna go shortcut to see if he comes out there, quarantine, and might be back at the dam again.
Alright, good luck. Bye. Alright guys, so we're going to continue on. You got another couple of minutes because I'm going to go really slowly to get your answers into where you think mvula might have gone. Left towards our northern boundary or right towards the Djuma Dam. Excuse me. So guys, I'm nearly there, waiting for which way we should go. The junction now, so it's right towards the dam or left towards the boundary. I'm going to stop here for a little bit and listen again. Okay, Okay, so general consensus is right towards the dam. So if we don't find him, it's on you guys, not on me. But I think that's a good choice. I probably would have made the same choice myself. Check termite mounds. I've followed Mvula many times and he likes his termite mounds to get a good view of the area around him. Down so we can have a look at the drainage line that flows into the top of the dam. Oh, sorry to scrub here. Have one. Gets the edge here, so I can see right up the drainage line. Stop again. Oh, there's a really nice shot there for Andrew to have a look at. There's a, what tree is that? It is always a leadwood with a bit of beautiful sky behind it. A very high-pitched call you can hear behind us is a water thickener. We saw one of those at the Arathusa Dam earlier. So if anyone's tuned in a little bit late, to give you a quick update what we've been up to this afternoon on this sunset safari. We're on a report of wild dogs. So we went and checked Arathusa very, very thoroughly. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find them. But James had Mvula, nice big dominant male leopard this morning, and he was left lying up around here. And no one's been able to find him this afternoon, but there's been no tracks of him.
Mitten oben. Welcome back everyone to Wendy. We've had a fairly quiet night drive so far, but it's a beautifully sort of balmy winter's evening, especially up here on the crests, and we're just making our way slowly to one of the clearings where we're hoping to pick up one or two nocturnal creatures. I always love this time of the day. I love most of the time of the day, but this one especially, when the night animals start to come out, and there's a feeling of solace, if you like, because you can see so much less. And some of the best times I've spent in the bush have been while I've been alone, either walking or sleeping the night in a tree house, and the night time gives that same sort of feeling. If you want a genuine connection with the wilderness, there's no better way to do it than with a night out on your own in an area that you're not necessarily that comfortable. That is not to say you should come out here and lie under a bush for the night. That would just be silly. Some eyes up ahead there. Might be a bush baby or a galago. I'm not sure if you can see them or not. Probably not. You have to be almost in line with the spotlight. I'm going to move a little quicker to see. Definitely it's moving like a bush baby. That'll be nice to see. Lost sight of it now. It was in that tall tree, one of these trees here. There we go. There he is. There we go. See him jump? Can you see him, Olivia? No, you can't. Pull off here. Might get a view. It's a bit difficult with the light and the camera. There he is. A little lesser bush baby. Tiny little primate. That's glorious. Look at that. See him jump? Did you get him?
No.
Fine. Have you got him now?
Yeah, I know.
I can't even see him anymore. Is he there?
Yeah.
Okay, there you can see he's got huge big ears. I'm just going to try and wash him with the light rather than shine directly on him and see if he doesn't jump again. You pull wide a bit. There we go. Did you see him go? Look at that. Beautiful sighting. That's called a lesser bush baby. Look at his eyes. He's eating tree gum. That's their favorite food in the winter, is the gum that comes out of acacia trees. And he's sitting on an acacia exuvialis tree, eating the gum, because the insects which are his staple food in summer are obviously not around as much now. That's a gorgeous sighting. Oh, there he goes. You can sort of see him in there. Not sure we'll see him again. There he is. There we go. Just going to go a little bit forward. There he is. Got him. He's in that combretum tree there. There we go. A little bit forward again. There's another one. I think it must be the same one. They're fascinating little creatures. They're very small, and when you're little like that, you have to have very rich food to keep your body temperature up, because they lose heat very fast, like the rodents do. And so the bush babies, to save energy at night time, at least in the daytime, will curl up and go into what we call torpor, which is a sort of lower, it's like a mini hibernation almost. And what it does is it just means that the physiological strain on the body are that much less, so they use that much less energy to maintain body temperature. So if you find them sleeping in the middle of the day, they're a bit like a child when it wakes up. They're almost sort of delirious. You can pick them up because it takes a while for their physiologies to kick back in. And we're going to leave that one and carry on. That was a really nice sighting. There's an impala there in the clearings. The impala will come out into the clearings at night because they don't want to. It's the best place, most easy place for them to see the predators, if there are predators after them. And the impala's night vision will be much better than ours, although not great. So we're going to wrap it up for you now. I've had a great time this afternoon. We haven't seen a huge amount of big game or big and hairies, but we've seen some great little stuff. It's been a stunningly beautiful afternoon out here, and I really appreciate all the interaction that we've had, and thanks very much for being with us, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Thanks again to Brian behind. That's his somewhat strangely decorated thumb. And so from Brian and I, it's a good night to you, and we're going to pop over to Brent just for the last few minutes of the drive. We'll see you in the morning. Good night and have a great evening. Thanks a lot.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm not sure what happened there, so we apologize for that break in signal, but we are back with you. So what we decided to do, we did check down towards the dam, so now we've come up opposite way towards the dam, near the northern boundary, and we're just going to sit here for the last few minutes, and maybe we will hear something. We're going to listen for a little bit. Remember, everyone, put your ears on, your hands on your ears, so you can hear more, like a kudu. There's a nice African sunset with a star. Hi Gerda, thanks for another question today on the Sunset Safari. Gerda would like to know, is that star we're seeing Venus? Gerda, it is. It is Venus, and as you can see, it is a planet, not a star, and if it was a star, it would be twinkling. Maybe it might be dark enough to show a star, and when we zoom in on the star, there's one to the right there. Zoom in on the star there. You'll see it flickers. The star flickers, whereas the planet stays stationary. And even when you look at them with your naked eye, it's amazing how silent it is now. So guys, it's been a bit of a quiet afternoon with the whole sunset safari with the bigger things, but it still has been a thoroughly enjoyable, and the light was fantastic. We had some great views of kudu and those hippo, and some really nice birds at Arthur's Dam, and it's just so wonderful to be out here, and couldn't ask for a better job, and I'm very, very glad I was able to share it with all of you. It is a real privilege to be able to share our passion with all of you all over the world. It is a very special thing to be able to do. So hopefully Mvula comes out of these drainages in the morning and we are able to find him a little bit easier. And that's the wonderful thing about going on safari. Tomorrow morning everything's new tracks. So we start again afresh, and we can learn something new every day, and we see something different every day. And that's one of the most amazing things about living in the bush and being able to go on safaris every day. Sorry, I just thought I heard something there. Oh, I don't think you guys are going to be able to hear. It's a bit in the distance, but they're very quintessentially African sound in the distance there of a hippo. Quite far away, I'd guess probably around Sydney's Dam. But again, I can't thank you guys enough for joining us on the Sunset Safari. It's been an absolute pleasure having you ride along with us, and we've had a fantastic time, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have some better luck with some of the predators. I'm definitely going to be finding out more with what's happening with those wild dogs, and we've got Mvula somewhere in the drainage system to the west of us. Then there's female leopard tracks all around the northwest, and hopefully one of those different avenues come to fruition tomorrow. And it's always exciting to go out and tracking, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do, and we'll definitely be on Fine Fettle, hopefully James and I in the morning. And also, just to let you know, Scott and Nikki are going to be back tomorrow, so really exciting to have them back. We've missed them out here, as I'm sure you've missed them, and we're going to be great to have Scott back on the team and out in the bush with us. So from all of us here at Wild Earth, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all bright and early for the Sunrise Safari. Have a wonderful evening or morning, or whatever time of the day it is, wherever you might be in the world.